Today marks the start of the Revelry, an event in Destiny 2 that brings forward the exotic linear fusion rifle Arbalest. Arbalest is obtainable mainly through completing 7 triumphs related to the Revelry event and having 300 of the event's currency, which is obtainable from completing waves of the Verdant Forest and bosses in the Verdant Forest. Arbalest has 2 main perks, Compounding Force and Disruption Break. With Compounding Force, the weapon fires slugs that cause massive damage to elemental shields of enemy combatants. And with Disruption Break, breaking an enemy's shields with this weapon makes them more vulnerable to kinetic damage for a brief period of time. This places a debuff on the enemy after breaking their shields with this weapon, where they're more susceptible to kinetic damage, and I believe in a past video I said this was by 50%. Arbalest does 414 critical damage, obviously for a 1 hit to the head, and 166 body damage with a 533 charge time. Many people speculated that this weapon could potentially be quite effective against supers, maybe 1-hit them, or at least deal with them pretty effectively. Against a full Masterwork Armor Stormcaller, I dealt 128 damage to the head, and against a no Masterwork Stormcaller, I dealt 147 damage to the head. Of course, this meant this wasn't a one-shot kill, or even very close to that against a super. Against even a no Masterwork Armor Stormcaller, there wasn't a scenario that Arbalest would increase its own damage output by breaking the super's shields to make a difference on its shots to kill. 2 body shots on a super will keep it above shields, just barely, where the shot to break shields would leave them incredibly weak already, and with a headshot, although it does weaken them and apply the debuff, you would still be able to be followed up by a body shot of the Arbalest, regardless of that debuff applied. The Compounding Force perk also didn't seem to take any effect against supers, as Arbalest deals the same damage numbers as its legendary linear fusion counterparts in the heavy slot. As far as stats go, Arbalest has 41 impact, 60 range, 60 stability, 28 handling, 35 reload, 61 aim assist, and 77 recoil direction. And these are actually pretty good stats. It's a pretty good stat package when compared to even the legendary counterparts. Compared to my pretty well rolled Crooked Fang, it has more range, more stability, nearly the same handling, the same reload, the same aim assist, and better recoil direction. So it's actually got a really good stat package on top of the fact that you can spawn in with this with 2 shots. And on that note, if you're wondering, at least as far as PvP goes, what's the point of using this weapon? Well, it's the only weapon in its class that can be spawned in with ammo in the Kinetic slot. Normally, linear fusion rifles are found in the heavy slot. That means you have to go pick up heavy ammo to use these precision weapons. Now, if you're a fan of linear fusions, you're going to be able to use Arbalest to utilize your exotic slot on this and spawn in with a linear fusion. Unfortunately, I'm not the biggest fan of linear fusion rifles, so this weapon just feels about average to me. I still prefer using a sniper rifle, but I can't deny that I do like the low zoom sights, the high aim assist, and pretty high body shot damage if you happen to not hit the head despite the high aim assist on the weapon. I do like that about linear fusion rifles, and it's definitely consistent on this weapon as well. To me, the charge time and the awkward flinch on the weapon was too much of a drawback in comparison to a traditional sniper, but as I used the weapon more, I did get used to its charge time and aiming with that, as well as using an enhanced linear fusion rifle and flinching perk really noticeably helped out the flinch. So if you're going to use this, I would recommend using some sort of unflinching perk for it. To sum things up, I don't think this weapon is too special or extravagant in any way, other than the fact that, and the main reason, is that it's part of a weapon class that resides normally in the heavy slot, and you're able to use this as a special weapon that you spawn with in the Kinetic slot. It's slightly above average compared to other legendary linear fusion rifles, which is great, especially considering you spawn with it, but I think most people are going to regard this as just an average weapon. Unless, of course, you're a fan of linear fusion rifles, and, well, this is your calling, because now you don't have to pick up power ammo, and you can just spawn with one. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you'd like to see more content like this, I stream every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/Drewskys. The link is in the description. You can check that out if you like. As always, though, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.